Hello, beautiful people. Let's talk about loneliness, or in other words, being alone. Because I truly believe that being alone does not mean feeling lonely. And now, let's talk about how to fall in love with being alone. And before going even deeper into that topic, I want to call out all the people that say, I love being alone, but everything that they do is they go home. When they clean, they listen to a podcast or music, then they watch a movie, then they go for a walk and listen to music, then they come back home and watch another episode of their favorite TV show, and then they go on social media, and then they go to sleep and thinking, man, I love being alone. This is not the real solitude that we are talking about, because even though you are alone physically, you are still surrounded by a lot of different stimuli like social media, podcasts, music, movies. Therefore, you're not completely alone. If you have never cleaned in a silence, if you have never been on a walk in a silence and you truly enjoyed it and you did not find it boring, then you don't know what the real solitude is. Because being alone means staying alone with yourself. And I'm not saying that, hey, we don't count the fact that if you're physically alone but you listen to music, you're not alone. No, but there is still a level of awareness that you have to reach in order to have this feeling of a real solitude and really enjoying your solitude, and not just mindlessly having music in your earpods simply because without them it is boring to go for a walk, it is boring to clean, it is boring to work out. I mean, yeah, it is boring to work out. I don't like working out without music or audiobooks, but sometimes it happens. First thing that I want to tell you is that you're never alone, but you're also always alone. On a physical level, you're always alone. Think about it in terms of, even if you are with people, you can reach them to only a certain level, and that level is physical. You cannot get into their head and live there. You cannot think in their head. You cannot get into their heart. So even if you're communicating with someone, even if you're sitting in a group of people, you are still physically alone because they cannot get into you and crossing your physical skin, like physical barrier. I want you to imagine that you're laying with someone in bed and you're going to sleep and you're hugging this person and you feel like, finally, I am not alone. But then I want you to go even deeper into that feeling, and you will understand that even though the person is lying next to you, you are still alone in your own body. Like that person, no matter how much you hug that person, especially girls, when we hug someone and we just want them in your skin, but they will never get there. And we know that. And that's why we're kind of always lonely, because no one's gonna pass that barrier. And having the understanding that even when you are around the right people, and you feel like everything is complete, you are still alone to a certain extent. It gives you a relief because now you're not alone only in your room. You're also alone around those people, which sounds weird, but not in an unpleasant way. But you're also never alone. The second point that I want to talk about is who you are. I want you to close your eyes and tell me who you are, or tell yourself who you are. You're like, okay, I'm a student, I'm a daughter, I'm an employee, I am a friend, I am a sister. After you start telling all those labels to yourself, I want you to actually answer the question who you are. Like, who are you? And you can go like, I'm a female, I have this height, my eyes are different colors, I like red color, I don't really like pumpkins. And then I will ask you again, who are you? Go even further and step outside of your body. And then you can close your eyes, you can feel yourself stepping out of your body, and you'll be like, okay, I can see my body from above. Am I a soul? Am I a soul? Then I will ask you again, who are you? And I want you to step out even of that soul and go even beyond that. And you will question like, what is there after your soul, right? And you'll understand that there is nothing. But as soon as you will understand that there is nothing, you will also understand that you are everything. Right now you're wearing this beautiful costume, shout out to your body. But other than that, knowing that you are everything and nothing at the same time gives me a peace that I am never really alone. I am connected with everything that is around me. And when I think about it, I think about Earth as a planet that doesn't move across the time, but just slightly changes its form. So when I move my arms, when I move my body, it's not that I am moving it outside of all the nature around. No, we are all one, but this whole oneness is just changing its form. It's gonna be hard to comprehend, but the more you're gonna start thinking about this, the more it's gonna make sense for you. Especially if you're a religious or a spiritual person, you are the universe experiencing itself. You're everything and nothing at the same time. The God is within you, and the God is everything. Now, I promise that was the hardest spiritual awakening moment that you had to comprehend. Now we're gonna go easy. I want you to give the name to your fear. You can call it John, you can call it Stacy, whatever name you want. Think about, what are you so afraid of? Is it because when you're alone you have to face some parts of you that you don't really like? Is it because loneliness makes you feel that no one likes you? Is it that you find yourself boring? What exactly are you running away from? Like, what exactly people around you cure when you're with them? And let's suppose that you're scared that you're uninteresting and that there are some parts of you that you don't really like. The part of me that is very boring and that I don't know what to do, I'll call that part Mumbo. I don't know, just a weird name. And so when you are in your room alone, I want you to imagine that you're actually not alone. There is you, and then there is another shadow, another person, another fear, Mumbo. When you're alone in your room, you're also not alone. I don't want you to become your fear. I don't want you to become the person that you are trying to get away from. You have to understand that some parts of you are not your whole personality. Just because you think you're boring doesn't mean that you are boring. And even if you are boring, this is not you. This is not the whole you. It's just a small part of you. So do not let all those thoughts identify the whole human being that you are. You have to rip this part out of yourself, sit it next to yourself and say, hey, Mumbo, at least I'm not alone in that. There is me, Marta, and there is this part that is a little bit boring. Now that you're sitting in your room, not alone with this part of you, you can talk to it. Literally, you can talk out loud. You can get a plan and name a plan this way, and you can talk to your plan. Do with this part whatever you want, but do not let it consume you. Do not let it consume all your mind, all your thoughts. Hey, you are way more than just one feature about you. You are way more than the color of your eyes and your hair. You're way more than your weight or your height. You're way more than a knowledge about a specific subject. You are way more than being just boring. There are millions of those parts of you. And just because you make one bigger than others doesn't mean that that's true. Sometimes you can be wrong about yourself, and that's probably because you don't spend enough time with yourself. Because how do you know who you are if you never meet yourself fully when you are alone? Then I want you to understand that no one in this world, and I really mean it, even though there are 8 billions of people and there are probably half of them experiencing the same trauma as you did, half of them been cheated on, half of them been through hard childhood. No matter how many people there are in this world, no one will ever get you the way you can get yourself. And this is another reason why you should spend some time with yourself, because you are the only one that can give you the understanding that you need, that can give you the words that you need. It is good to find help among other people's, to ask your friends, to go and see a therapist, to ask people that you respect, to even have the physical contact as a hug and patting on your back and say, hey, everything's gonna be alright. That's a great idea. But people being empathetic does not mean that they get you the same way that you get yourself. And if you truly want to step on the path to loving yourself, to understanding yourself, to seeing your worthiness, to seeing how much you can be loved, to validating yourself and bettering yourself and living your dream life, you have to understand that there will be times when you have to sit and meet yourself to the level that no one can. On the one hand, it's pretty sad, but there are people that are going through the same shit. There are people that will be able to be by your side, and there are people that will be able to share their experience to make yours easier. But this understanding also frees you from expecting people to understand you. It also frees them so they don't feel overwhelmed by all the expectations that you set onto them. And it also frees you because you know that no matter who you meet, they probably will not get you as you get yourself. And that's okay. And in this way, you stop looking for everything in one person. And that's another thing. You can never meet everything in a one person. That's why we have social roles. That's why you have a mother and a father figure. That's why you have siblings. That's why you have a friend, and then you have a boyfriend that can also be a lover and a friend. Some people, they can step into different roles occasionally. But if you're in a relationship and you expect your boyfriend to be your mom, do you really think the relationship will work out? Occasionally it can happen, Your boyfriend is your best friend, your boyfriend is your lover, your boyfriend is your brother, your boyfriend is your mom. Once or twice, but that's all. One person can never be everything to you, and as soon as you realize that, you will also understand that, hey, I don't have to look for one specific person to fill all my needs. Sometimes you have to be everything for yourself, but even you cannot be everything for yourself. You have to choose the roles wisely and be a parent to you when your inner child needs it. You have to be a friend to you when you need it. You have to be a mentor to you when you need it. You have to be a lover to yourself when you need this. But this depends on the different situations. And some people, they cannot play the roles. Because that would be weird if your boyfriend would be your mom. Like, that would truly be very weird. The next question to you will be very brutal. Why other people should enjoy your company if even you cannot stand it? I think that's a pretty valid question to ask. Why do you think that people enjoy being around you if even you cannot sit alone in a room and be around your thoughts? And it can look like a vicious cycle. So you think you're boring, so that's why you never spend time with yourself, and you're always with people to validate the opinion that you're not actually boring. And every time they give you a small hint, you think that you are boring, so you don't spend time with yourself. So you want to prove them that you're not boring because you're scared that you are actually boring, but you don't spend time with yourself and do anything about it because you try to prove that everything is fine. Oh my god, it's so complicated. You have to understand that all the fears that you have that you're sitting in the room with, let's go back to our mumbo, you are always dragging that friend with you to every single gathering with your friends. If you don't like Mumbo, and if you're so afraid to face him, why do you think that other people want to face him? I want you to think about this question, and I want this question to force you to start being on your own. Stop being so selfish and putting all the responsibility on other people how to cure you. And continuing that question, let me ask you, if you're never alone, how do you know who you are? When I came to United States 2 years ago, I was like, okay, I'm here finally. I can be myself. You know, for 18 years of my life, I was always living with my parents and my brother, and I shared the room with my brother. And it was like, you know, a bunch of people around me. You know, I was a very cute, nice, little, kind girl that was very big on people pleasing, very big on studying and getting only good grades and not making any mistakes. And I was afraid to talk to people. And also, I had a lot of friends. And then I'm coming to the United States and I'm like, okay, finally, I can be myself. I can be everything that I wanted to be in my head. First of all, this turned out to be way harder than I thought. Second of all, when I came for the first 2 months, I'm like, I can be myself. What that means. Does it mean that for 18 years of my life, I was not myself? And that's when I started spending a lot of time alone. Because spending time with people is wearing a type of mask that suits that situation. If you are alone, that's where all the masks comes off most of the times. For some time, those masks will not come off, and you will still think that, hey, I know myself, I like doing this and doing that and doing that. You have to be alone to figure everything out about yourself. It's gonna be hard, and it's a never-ending job, and that's why you have to learn to be alone. You have to learn to sit in your solitude, in silence with yourself, because you will always learn more and more things about yourself. And every time you sit with yourself, you will be able to find new answers to new questions. So you have to spend time with yourself to know who you are, to be yourself around the people that you enjoy spending time with. Because let me tell you, then one day, when you will get to a point when it's going to be obvious that you learned a lot of things about yourself, you will not be acting the same way. And people will notice that, and people will be like, okay, we don't really want to spend time with you anymore. And you will be okay. I like my solitude. Another thing that I want to mention is when you're sitting alone in your room, do not divide yourself into good qualities and bad qualities, good parts and bad parts. Here I am a good person, here I am a bad person. As soon as you will start identifying some parts of you as good or bad, or just overall qualities as good or bad, you are telling yourself that some parts of you may be unlovable, which is not true. Forget about words good or bad when it comes to you. There is you and there is your shadow self. And you have to be friends with that shadow self. It's not bad. It's not your enemy. It's not gonna fail you in your life. Again, you're not your past. You are not your scars. You are not your bad parts. You are a puzzle picture that consists of hundreds and thousands of puzzle pieces, but none of these puzzles should overwhelm the picture. One puzzle cannot be bigger than other ones. You are made of all of the past experiences, whether that was a mistake, whether that you're embarrassed of them, whether you're proud of them. You are made of all those things, but you are not those things. They are just a puzzle that make a picture. And you have to understand that with each day you get more and more puzzles to fill the picture. It's never completed. Then some people are afraid that if they are alone, they're gonna miss out on something. They're gonna miss out on the party. They're gonna miss out on seeing their crush in the gym. They're gonna miss out on getting new friends. They're gonna miss out on the fun, and then everyone's gonna exclude you from the group and no one's gonna love you. Chill, you're not gonna miss out on anything. I want you to think about this world as whatever is meant to happen, it will happen. And you have to understand that if you will be sitting in your room and thinking that if I'm not gonna go to that party, I will not see this crush that I'm so in love. If you are not meant to happen, you will go to the party and you will not gonna see him. If you are meant to see him, you're gonna go outside, go to the closest store, and all of a sudden just see him in the random spot at the randomest time, because that's how the universe works. I want you to think this way, that what is meant to happen, it will happen, as long as you are aligned with this world, as you are aligned with your values, with your intentions, with your goals, and with the life that you want for yourself. Because I will also tell you that if your success is meant to happen, it's not gonna happen if you're just sitting in your room and waiting for it. If you're meant to marry this guy, it's not gonna happen if you're gonna be sitting in your room 24/7. But as long as you act according to the values that you have and to the goals that you have, eventually it's gonna be yours. The more I detach from that thinking, the more I am surprised when some things just happen on their own in the randomest times with the randomest people that I can ever imagine. Like, I truly, sometimes I go and I'm like, oh well, I don't really care if I'm gonna meet this person, and then I meet them. I'm like, I don't really care, I just want to be happy, I just want this specifically, and then something happens that I really wanted. Expect nothing and you will get everything, because anything that will happen to you will become everything to you. So you are not missing out on life and on people and on adventures if you are staying true to yourself. And you don't know if you're staying true to yourself, and you cannot be mindful in your own body if you do not spend time with yourself, if you do not recharge from socializing, if you do not sit and rethink your values. Because let me tell you, as soon as you answer one question, do I like pumpkin, you will have to come back to that question 1 year later and ask it to yourself, do I like pumpkin? Because the next year your answer is gonna change. And with this thought, I want you to finally just be alone. And by alone, I really mean to be with yourself, to be with your thoughts. Sometimes even 5 minutes of silence outside, just go outside, drink your tea, listen to the bird chirping, listen to the world around you. That's enough to reconnect with yourself. You don't even have to ask yourself questions and do this hard work that everyone is talking about that overwhelms you so much. Because sometimes people don't want to sit alone because they know that they will, from all those videos, the right thing to do is sit down and ask yourself questions. Sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes it should be easy. Being with yourself should ease your mind and not overwhelm you. You can sit and just not think about anything. You see, when you're all into, watching all those movies and listening to music on the walks and listen to a podcast when you're cleaning, that's a great thing. That's a great thing to do. I do this, but you have to understand that this is not a collaboration. It's an add-on. The movie is an add-on to your solitude. The music is an add-on to your solitude. And I want you to see the difference between lighting up the candle, getting your favorite snacks, having the most cozy blanket and pillows next to you, putting your phone on do not disturb, and watching the movie or a cartoon that you used to watch when you were little. And just getting home, turning on your favorite TV show, laying in your bed before your next class, and spending time with yourself. Those are two different things. First one's gonna connect you to you because you're worth having this cozy place to yourself. You are worth just sitting there and smelling this beautiful scent of your candles. You are worth not disturbing and being with yourself for a few moments. Cleaning 10 minutes in silence can be way more productive than cleaning 1 hour doing all this deep cleaning and listening to a podcast. Sometimes it is way more productive because all of a sudden you're gonna clean not only around yourself but also within yourself. Please take some time to disconnect from all those add-ons and be with yourself. It works like magic. And you know why? Because the magic is you yourself. Solitude is liberating. Solitude is awesome. At the end of the day, no matter who you are in bed with, the only thing that you have is you. The only person that gets you is you. The only person that will back you up no matter what is you. The only person that's gonna feel you is you. The only person that thinks the way you do is you. You have yourself. So make your mind, make your heart, make your body a very nice place to live. Solitude works like magic. And you know why? Because the magic is you yourself. Don't forget to be awesome. Bye!